Welcome Estates, your trusted partner for finding dream homes in Costa Blanca, Spain. Beautiful new build villas, seaside apartments, and country fincas. Start your journey today at welcomeestates.com and let us find your perfect home.
Lisa, we're here at a frontline villa on La Finca Golf
We are indeed.
to see two of your, well, ex-clients, but now friends.
Yep.
Tell us about the couple.
So Joe and Charlie bought back in 2021. It was a holiday home at first. They've obviously loved time in Spain, and then this year in 2025, they've now got the non-lucrative visa. So this will be a bit different video because it's not just somebody finding the property, it's now them actually have a full relocation over to Spain.
Yeah, we're going to ask the guys about the process of buying through Welcome Estates, the applications for visas, and all the ins and outs basically. So should we go and speak to them?
The good and the bad, let's go and see.
Well, Lisa, we're sat down now and we're inside this lovely property, and you've got two of your favourite clients right here with you.
Yeah, Joe and Charlie bought back in 2021. We just worked out.
Yeah. Just after COVID.
Just after COVID.
Well, we're going to ask you a few things about the process, why Welcome Estates, has it been the right decision? So, well, just tell us about why you actually wanted to move out to Spain in the first place.
We've been talking about it a while, haven't we? Yeah. And my best friend lives over here, so he's always wanted me to move to Beckenham in Kent, and to move down there was a little bit pricey from Preston, so I'd have ended up living in a tent.
Yeah.
So he lives 9 doors down, and we wanted somewhere around here, so we had a look pre-COVID, but couldn't really find anything, and then we came out after COVID and spoke to Lisa at Welcome. They showed us around pre-COVID and then post-COVID as well, and this one came about, and we thought, yeah, why not? It was a lot more than we wanted to pay, but it's got the views, it's got everything that we wanted in the house, although it did need quite a lot of work on it.
When you saw these guys coming, did you think, you know what, I've got the right place for you? How long did it take for you to assess their needs?
I didn't meet you pre-COVID.
No.
The first meeting I had was when Charlie turned up in the office on his own without Joe. That was the first time I met. And I think at that point you was actually toying with possibly not the Finca as well.
Yeah, I wasn't bothered about the Finca, but Joe wanted to be here because of the community, and also it's gated, so it's safe, and if she was here on her own she'd feel safe. I wanted somewhere in the sticks with chickens and goats and stuff, but that's not really Joe's thing. So
we also had the debate, if you remember, because we looked at some new builds as well and resales, and then we decided that new builds were not what you wanted, and then there was 2 properties, if you remember. It was this property and a property very similar to this but on a different location, and I remember us going from that one to this one to that one to this one. I was standing on the terrace, keep comparing it was a views really, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the other one wasn't on a community either, was it? So it wasn't as gated, it wasn't as, and like the views were different as well. It was exactly the same house, funny enough, exactly the same villa, but it was that trying to work out what what we actually wanted and what was important to us, and whether it being gated was important. And then we spoke to you about the pros and cons about being on the community and it being gated, and it came down to that really in the end. That was where we wanted to be and where we wanted what the location of where the villa was.
And in the end they went for the gated community, and how many years, 4 years later now, Charlie's the vice president of his community, so he's really involved with community activities.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
great.
that's a good
So
thing
you've
or a
really
bad thing.
immersed yourself in the life then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I ask why you decided to go with Welcome Estates? There's obviously there's lots of agents around in the local area. Why Welcome Estates?
Well, first of all, we dealt with Andy, and it was my friend who put me in touch with Andy because he knew him. But Andy was really helpful, didn't rush us, showed us loads of properties. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out because we couldn't find the one that we wanted at the price we wanted to pay. We had a budget in mind, and some had a pool, some didn't have a pool, and we just didn't feel relaxed in them. So COVID came about, and then we came back, obviously got in touch with the Welcome again and started the process again. And there was a whole load of new villas on the market because they sell so quickly out here. And really we did want to be down this road because I think it's the best views on the Finca. And this just happened to come up, and these don't come up very often.
Yeah.
But like Lisa said, we did look at the new ones. We wanted a golf view. That was quite important to us, wasn't it? Because you play golf, and we thought if we're going to live on a golf resort, we do want those golf views. But some of the new builds we looked at, they weren't what we wanted. And I think it's obviously down to personal choice. And then Lisa was really good and showed us lots of different things, so we could figure out exactly, because we were lucky that we knew where we wanted to be. I think that was half the battle. We knew we wanted to be on the Finca, but we weren't quite sure about the property. And it was having all that variety to look around, and that patience of showing us round and explaining the pros and cons of each property that allowed us to make quite a tricky choice, but it was made easy by Welcome.
Yeah,
because
that's good.
we had to view so many properties.
And an interesting, your situation's quite interesting because you initially bought as a holiday home,
Correct.
and then you decided, no, actually, we love it so much, we're going to actually come and stay out here and relocate. So, can you talk to us about the visa process? I know Welcome gave you some advice, but you're a bit of an anomaly in a sense. You wanted to, you did manage to go through the process on your own.
Yeah, we'd been coming out for the 90 days, 90, 180, because you can only spend 90 days out of every 180. And we really looked forward to coming here, and then we didn't want to go back. And it was the cost of going back, because we've got a dog, so we had to go on the ferry all the time, and it was just like, why are we doing this to ourselves? We might as well move over full time. So we made the decision last year to do it full time. Investigated with the help of Lisa using a solicitor, but I felt that the complexity of the job to get it right wasn't that great, and to spend the amount of money that they were asking on it, I thought, well, I can do it myself. So we started the process in about October, got all the paperwork in order, filled it out with the help of YouTube and the internet, translated everything that we needed to, took it down to BLS in Manchester and submitted it, and then just waited.
How long did it take before you got the all clear, the green light?
It took a little bit longer than we wanted and we thought, but it worked out well with the okay. They did come back to me at one stage because they wanted clarification. So although I'd fulfilled every requirement to the letter, it's a bit like a police interview, not that I've ever had one, but they always say, have you got anything else to tell us? And BLS said, have you got anything else you want to give us? And I said, no, it's all there. Because probably being British, if you say they want this, this and this, you give them this, this and this.
Absolutely.
But they came back wanting qualification as to where the money came from, and they wanted more of a trail than I had, because I'd put the money in account 6 months earlier, but there was nothing else about that account prior to that, because I opened it up specially. So they wanted to know where it had come from, so I had to demonstrate where those finances had actually come from, where I'd transferred them to. So I gave them a full 12 months worth of information, and within 24 hours the visa was on its way.
Yeah.
The worst part for you was how long did they hold your passport back for you so you couldn't come over?
Yeah, it was. We handed it over in, I think it was October.
It was October, yeah.
October, and we ended up getting it back in March, end of March.
Withdrawal symptoms for sure.
The problem is that you can't do anything. You feel almost trapped in the UK. Not that it's a bad thing, because I've lived all my life in the UK, but when you can't go somewhere, you automatically want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
But we couldn't. It is a bit of a black hole. It goes in, you can't get any information out, but it doesn't matter who you use, whether you use a solicitor or do it yourself, it's exactly the same. It just saved me about £2,000 doing it ourselves.
Okay. And now you're out here, Joe. You it sounds like you may have had the deciding vote on the property, by the way. But now that you're out here, you've been out here for a few years. Would you look back? Was it definitely the right decision?
Definitely. It's got all the things that we were looking for. So the community, the golf for Charlie. I enjoy doing walking. It's got a gym. It's got everything we could have asked for. And then if you're coming off the Finca, there's all the wider community. I know you've been doing other videos of what else there is around and about. So it's got everything that we're in close proximity to the beaches, the towns. So it's a fabulous space. And no, not looking back at all.
Yeah, I just should have done it sooner, really.
Should have done it sooner. That's what a lot of people say, don't they?
And interesting, last week I had to go back to the UK, and it didn't actually feel like home anymore, which I thought I thought I'd be really happy to be there, and it felt like home, and I would almost not want to come back here straight away. But I literally, as soon as I got off the plane, I was ready to come back.
Yeah. It
didn't feel like home anymore. This felt like home.
And you've got such a nice property here. I mean, how much time would you say you spend in? Do you spend a lot of time out, or do you take time to just enjoy the property itself?
I think it's a mixture, really. In the heat of summer, it might sound really strange, but you tend to spend it inside because it's just too hot. In July and August it was very hot this year, so we spent it with the aircon on inside. But this time of year is now absolutely glorious, so you can spend it outside on the balcony, go walks, go to restaurants, sit outside. It's a really nice time of year at the moment, and that'll carry on through to December.
Have you got any advice for people who are umming and ahhing about making this move out here?
Do it quickly, sooner rather than later, because life's too short to mess around. There was that many people seem to be dying around me, and that sounds a bit morbid, doesn't it? But people die when you least expect it, and why wait until you're 70 or 80 to do this? Why not do it as soon as you can? Get out here very quickly.
I think we had the luxury because we already had the holiday home and we already knew the community. It made that process easier. But I think it would be harder if we hadn't already found the location. And I know Lisa and I have spoken before about that. Having that location is key before starting looking at properties, because otherwise you'll end up getting bombarded by looking at lots of different properties in lots of different places. And it's almost easier for us because we knew where we wanted to be, and then it was just a case of this is the community you want to be on, and this is the urbanisation you wanted to be on. Right, let's now find you your perfect property, because it's going to be here somewhere because you're so set on a location. It just was a case of finding that property, and that's where obviously Welcome stepped in and shared their expertise and found us our dream home.
Another job well done, Lisa.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just to touch on something that Charlie just mentioned that people will be really interested in, the process, not the holiday home, but this relocation, how important is timing? And what I mean by that is you've got your non-lucrative visa this year, but you will not be a tax resident until next year.
Correct.
And this is something that we've talked about on the podcast quite a lot, and that's to do with selling your assets in the UK.
Uh-huh.
And as you found out, that's really important.
Yeah, you need to sell your UK house before you become a Spanish tax resident, else all of a sudden you can incur capital gains tax on your private sale.
England and in Spain?
In the UK.
I see. Yeah.
Which can cost hundreds of thousands of pounds if you're not careful. So you have to set the timing right to make sure that you don't incur it when you get to Spain.
So you can't get double taxed, but the difference is that the rules in Spain and England are different. In England, you don't get charged capital gains on your primary residence. In Spain, you do. So once you become a tax resident, any assets all over the world, you abide by the Spanish tax system.
Yeah.
So it isn't the case that the UK would have done, but Spain would have asked for capital gains even though it was your property in the UK, because you're now under the tax regimen here in Spain. But it's really easily avoidable. It's like this year, Charlie and Joe have got access to come back to Spain as much as they want with the visa, but they just have to make sure they don't exceed 83 days this year, because then they're not a tax resident next year. It'll be the year after, and by that point they would have sold the property.
Okay.
And the Spanish tax year is from January to December. So we had to spend more than 183 days outside of Spanish jurisdiction to avoid the capital gains tax. Whereas next year we'll be here all the time till we decide not to be, but I can't see that happening. We're not the sort of people who think, oh, we might want to go back to the UK. There's no reason, because the health system's better here, the life's better here, the weather's better here. It's just infinitely better than what I experienced in the UK.
Due to our TIE though, we are only allowed to spend, over the next 5 years, only allowed to spend 10 months outside of Spain. Anyway, and 6 months of those are not allowed to be in the same year. So obviously after we've had our NLV, we had to apply for our TIE once we got to Spain. We did use the advice of the solicitor to do that. We didn't do that ourselves just because of the language barrier more than anything else. And that was, we seemed to be going through a busy period, so we did wait a long time to get an appointment, but as long as you can prove that the ball is rolling, it's absolutely fine. You only have 3 months after your NLV's.
I can't remember the exact length of time, but you have a specific length of time to get your TIE, which is where you have to go to the police station, Police National, to get your fingerprints taken, and they then issue you TIE.
Do you know why there's such a big delay at the minute? So basically we're 5 years post all us pre-Brexit people got their TIE, so there's an absolute massive influx of the 5-year TIEs running out this September.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say because the fingerprint machine are broken.
No. So, like, for example, my 5-year one expires at the end, but you cannot get an appointment at this moment in time.
No, and we ended up having separate appointments, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then we went to collect them about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
So-
and it seems to be easier if you get a local solicitor to do it.
Yeah.
They do, whether they have priority, I don't know, whether it's because of the language barrier, I don't know, but people who try to do it themselves really struggle to get that appointment. So although we did the initial NLV process ourselves with the marriage certificates and everything else that goes with it and the health insurance, getting the appointment for the TIE, which we got in Oruwela just down the road, we left that to the solicitor, and that was fairly reasonable.
Yeah. Well, that's another great success story. I mean, just one final thing though to make a note of is, even though these guys are very brave and did a lot of it themselves and did their own research, you guys would do that though at Welcome. You would put them in the right direction.
We always guide as a signpost. We're here to help with properties, help with locations, and advise people how to make that relocation. But we are not, as we say all the time, we're not solicitors and we don't do the process ourselves. But we definitely signpost people in the right places.
I think one thing I would mention is about bringing things over. We slimmed down the amount of stuff that we could bring over, because the furniture and stuff that you have in the UK isn't necessarily suited to Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we bought a minimal amount of furniture over, like the bed, so like the bed and various other things. So that was fairly cost effective, and that was all here within 3 to 4 weeks.
We're going to actually have somebody on the podcast in a week or two, because we get those questions all the time, don't we, about transporting.
All the time,
So we actually got a haulage company who are going to come on as well in a couple of weeks and talk about that. And Joe and Charlie have a dog as well.
Yeah.
So you obviously bring Annie over. Well, probably won't be as much now. You're here permanently, but you did that quite a lot, didn't you, over the past three years?
Got a pet passport in Spain, because if you don't, you have to have a medical certificate from the vet, which is expensive, and reams and reams of paper. So as soon as we brought her over first time, we then got a pet passport over here, which I think was €25.
Yeah, again, I think
come in and out.
Again, it was. Lisa ended up becoming a little bit like, if we didn't know the answer to something or didn't know what to do, I'll phone Lisa and ask her. And it was very much, if I don't know the answer, I'll find it out for you. So the pet passport was something else. We'd phone Lisa. You know, what do we do about the dog? How do we get the dog over? You had obviously had pets, so knew what we needed to do and could recommend vets and things like that. So it was nice having her on the end of the phone, at the end of an email, to say, so we can phone her up, text her, whatever, and ask questions, because she's been here, she's a mum, she's got animals, not only does she have the business, so it was nice being able to have it at the end of the phone.
Yeah, I get some crazy questions. I do. Dog passports is one of the least things, but I think because people get nervous in Spain because it's just a little bit different. It'll be from electricians to plumbers to pets to schools, but because everybody in Welcome has lived this life and been here, we have the contacts to signpost people in the right direction.
Well, it's nice to see another happy couple, and it's nice to see that Welcome Estates provides so much support as well. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank
you letting us speak to you and also showing us your great property.
Thank you.
Welcome Estates, your trusted partner for finding dream homes in Costa Blanca, Spain. Beautiful new build villas, seaside apartments and country fincas. Start your journey today at welcomeestates.com and let us find your perfect home.